we hear His Excellency very, very well, and then represent exactly what he says. Moving on, chairs wouldn't be very good for us at this time. So get yourself properly settled down so that we go into business immediately.
Your Excellency, the Deputy Governorship candidate Abga of the state, the Chairman and indeed the National Vice Chairman Abga Southeast, Your Excellency, the wife of the governorship candidate, the Chairman of the Board, Honorable former House of Reps, we are all gathered here for an interactive session this morning, this afternoon rather. His Excellency has, of course, scheduled to have this meeting with us, but for certain exigencies of the duty of the time. And he has found time this afternoon to talk with us. Please, we are running against time, so he will address us, after which we will be prepared to field questions from us. So, anybody who has any questions or clarifications to make or to request should please identify himself for clarifications and other responses. Thank you.
And I believe we should be holding it from time to time. It is not in my nature to read prepared speeches, but because of a particular event that happened in the last 24 hours, I think I should read it, and then I can delve into a few other issues and field questions from you. I hope that's accepted. This is the text of a press briefing by the governorship candidate of the APGA, All Progressive Grand Alliance, held on Tuesday, February 4, 2015 in Umuahia. Gentlemen of the press, it is with serious concern that I brief you this morning regarding the series of attacks targeted at me by the state government, especially since the commencement of the electioneering campaign for the upcoming general elections in the state. Initially, I did not see the propriety of joining issues with the outgoing administration of Governor T.A. Orji and his team over some brazen, undemocratic, barbaric, and uncivilized acts by agents of the government. But recent developments have made it imperative that we bring to the public domain the various acts of government which are capable of heating up the system and engendering political crisis in the state. As you may have observed, since the campaigns took off, government agents have been moving around different parts of the state, vandalizing and mutilating our campaign billboards and posters. Of course, these undemocratic acts are capable of provoking a retaliation, which could degenerate into a major political logjam. But we have maintained our peace, and we have restrained our people from going out in reprisal attacks in the overall interest of the citizens of this state. We also want to ensure that the elections will be conducted in an atmosphere devoid of rancor and violence, and that's why we have remained peaceful. Unfortunately, the government has continued to task our patience. The latest in the series of these attacks were the fabricated lies which were published in the media by the Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Mr. ACP Abazuen. I'm sure some of you must have received his press statement, which was made yesterday. I have attached a copy for you if you didn't receive it. Abazuen alleged, among other things, that I was parading men in military uniform, using them to intimidate and harass law-abiding adversaries. He also alleged that, and I quote, Mr. Oti may have sold military uniforms and procured arms to equip hoodlums to appear as military personnel to facilitate his dream of rigging the elections. Unquote. I consider these allegations very, very weighty, even though I still see them as laughable, ludicrous, and a creation of the state government as part of its calculated but futile attempts to cause public disaffection against my person. Luckily for us, Abia people are wiser and are able to differentiate between the truth and the blatant falsehood by a government that has thrived on lies and deceit for close to 8 years. Apparently worried by the innocuous impact of the foregoing allegations, the state government devised a more dangerous and deadly tactic aimed at not only intimidating me, but to possibly attack or assassinate me. Last night at 10:58 p.m., and that was 2 minutes to 11 p.m. at night, some men numbering 14 and dressed in army uniform invaded my country home at Umuahia in Isialamba South local government area of Abia State. At the time of the invasion, I was on my way back from a campaign tour of Okwa East and Okwa West local government areas. The invaders forced their way into my compound and proceeded towards my main house. On being accosted by one of the brave mobile policemen guarding my compound, the leader of the military men, and I put military in quotes, who identified himself as an army captain, which I also put in quotes, said they wanted to see me and to confirm if there were army men in my compound. After some argument, the soldiers and soldiers in quotes left my compound, promising to come back. Some salient questions are in order here. 1, who sent the soldiers to my house? 2, why should they come by that time of the night? 3, what exactly could be their mission? 4, how come this is happening less than 24 hours after the government and its agents issued a press statement alleging that I was keeping fake army men? It is appropriate at this juncture to state that I do not work with unapproved security operatives, and it is unthinkable that I will use security men to intimidate and harass the good people of Abia State who have promised to vote for me massively during the February 28th elections. Again, I cannot be a party to any act that can truncate or disrupt the elections. When God has decided that I will win the election to deliver Abia people from years of deceit, unemployment, underdevelopment, and lies and abject poverty that is Abia State today. I therefore use this opportunity to appeal to President Goodluck Jonathan, the Inspector General of Police, and the Chief of Army Staff to urgently call Governor T.A. Oji and his group to order immediately, and to encourage them to desist from engaging in undemocratic acts that could affect the smooth conduct of the general elections in the state. I think enough is enough. Thank you very much for your attention. I will take questions on this, but before I take questions, let me also report a few things that have been happening around the elections that have made me very, very uncomfortable. The first one is that we are aware that the PDP has been going about buying up PVCs from local governments. If you go to Osisioma today, most people are thronging the INEC office and they cannot see their PVC. The same situation has happened in Bend. But in their deceitful manner, they have come to the press to say that I was buying PVCs. Of course, I cannot do that. And I believe that other people know that I cannot do that. The second thing they are doing is that they have said that whatever happens, they are going to win the elections. They have even gone ahead to say that they are going to write the results, announce the results by hook or crook, and that I will not come second. They will make sure that I come third or fourth, so that even if I go to court, it will not be effective. These are things that we have had. The next thing that they have done, and this is being done as we speak, is that the PDP in the state has gone ahead to convince people and tell people that they will do everything possible to ensure that the card readers are not used for the election in Abia State. This is a wake-up call, and I'm calling on INEC to know that this is what is happening in the state at this time. And we are not going to accept any attempt by the state government, its agent, or the PDP to rig these elections. The last thing that is happening at this time is that party card-carrying members have found their names into the list of supervisors. Most of them are being trained as we speak at a hotel very close to this place. Most of them are card-carrying members. If I open my iPad, I will show you even campaign vehicles of PDP parked in the hotel where the training is going on at this time. I am calling on the INEC resident electoral commissioner in the state. She may not be aware, I'm calling her attention to it, to say that we are not going to sit down and accept a situation where card-carrying members of PDP are brought to us as supervisors for these elections. It will not happen, and we will not let it stand. So this is just to alert them. I believe that the word is enough for the wise. We are prepared for a free and fair election. We are going to ensure that a free and fair election happens in Abia State. Anything short of that will not be acceptable. I know that INEC has made a lot of moves to ensure that the elections are free and fair. But we have it on good authority that the ruling party in the state does not want to have a free and fair election. So I'm alerting the general public, I'm alerting Abia citizens, I'm alerting the federal government, I'm alerting INEC about some of these irregularities, and also letting them know that even though we have resolved to maintain the peace, but we are being provoked, and we need superior authorities to intervene and call the state government to order. Thank you very much. At this point, I'm happy to take questions.
Thank you, Your Excellency. The gentlemen and my colleagues, we have all had the presentation of the press briefing by His Excellency, so he's expecting questions from us. Identify yourself and your leader.
There is another candidate that campaigns and canvasses for votes as APGA governorship candidate in the state. I personally have not had where you has drawn the attention of either INEC or security agencies, drawing the attention to this scenario. Secondly, is there any pending court cases with respect to this dual candidacy in your party?
Thank you very much. We are very busy people right now. We are going about canvassing for votes and campaigning because we believe that under this dispensation, that votes will count. So we didn't consider and if you go to INEC today, they will show you the list. And under APGA, you will see that the candidate is Dr. Alex Uti, OFI, with the deputy governorship candidate as Mrs. Uche, Ebe Uche, who is seated by my left. I think that is what is most authentic. If you decide to now go and campaign that you are APGA candidate, I shouldn't waste my time chasing you, because I will be dissipating energy that I should use to talk to electorate, to chase you. It could be a distractive tendency. Somebody could be hired to do that. So that, you know, when there's a saying in Igbo land that when you go to have your bath and a madman comes to take your clothes and run away, the natural tendency is for you to start pursuing him. And when people see you, they'll say, look at two madmen running. But the best thing to do is to let the madman run with your clothes, and then you arrange for another cloth to wear, so that people will not mistake you for a madman. So that would be the way I will respond to that. There is also a letter from INEC to the individual concerned, informing him and his backers that INEC does not recognize them. And INEC does not recognize factionalization of any party. So I think that settles that. Talking about court cases, there can be 1,001 court cases. That is why we have lawyers. We have lawyers who are addressing court cases. Anyone can come up today. Anybody can go to court and sue me today. I shouldn't stop that. All I need to do is to put a lawyer to the matter and ensure that it is being handled. I do not see that there is any serious or genuine court case right now against my candidature or against any of the candidates in APGA. But then I cannot rule out the possibility of somebody going to court, even as we speak, to make any claims. But we are not afraid of court cases because we also have lawyers who must be engaged at this time. I don't know if I have answered your questions satisfactorily. Thank you.
Your Excellency, punches first. I want to find out, have you been able to officially report to the military authorities about the alleged invasion or intrusion into your premises yesterday by some men suspected to be so?
Thanks, I have. Like I said, it happened almost this morning. So we had written a protest letters to the commandant of the Nigerian Army at Umuahia. We copied the Chief of Army Staff. We also have alerted the Director of SSS in the state, and we have also written to the Inspector General of Police. And I believe that they should be investigating any moment from now. Next.
I represent Nigerian Tribune. Nigerian Tribune.
Nigerian Tribune.
Yes. So recently you have been accused by the state government that you frustrated the state while you were the director of Diamond Bank in some of the issues that you're supposed to have released money to carry out some projects in the state. So please, we have been trying to get in touch with you for this issue. Thank God you're here today. Can you explain?
Yes, I had it, and I deliberately refused to talk about it for the simple reason of confidentiality. But it's unfortunate that the governor threw caution to the winds and began to accuse me. The first question that I would like to ask any of you who knows how banking works anywhere in the world, if you write a check and you have money in your account, will a bank refuse to honor the check? If the bank refuses to honor the check, maybe your signature is irregular. So all you need to do is to regularize your signature. I left Diamond Bank towards the end of October 2014. And as at the time I left, the government was threatening to pull the account from Diamond Bank. And I refused to get involved in it. The truth is that there is no way anybody will refuse to give money that belongs to the state back to the state. So it is laughable. It is not true. Again, I will also use this opportunity to just touch on a couple of issues that the governor had addressed. He said that there were some shopping malls that I refused to grant credit facilities to. Is that a crime if I refuse to grant credit facilities? The reality is that the governor forgot that right from the time I was executive director in Diamond Bank, I'm First Bank, that I had been assisting his government up to the time I left. He forgot to mention how much facilities that I had given him. He needs to be man enough, if he's giving information, to give that information too, because those are available records. But I don't want to be the one publishing financial dealings of the state government with the bank that I had left. But then the point remains that if the governor approached me for facilities for projects that are called public-private partnership projects. I remember faintly that a long time ago he did, and I had told him that there is what is called borrowing capacity. If you have borrowed to the teeth, and now you want to now borrow through a PPP, at the end of the day, you will still have to pay the loan. The easiest thing to do is to borrow money. But people seem to forget that whenever you borrow, that there's a day you will pay. So I didn't want to overlap the government with loans that it will not be able to pay within this term. From his statement, it is clear that somebody else gave him the money. I have tried to do some inquiry, and I understand that all is not well between the government and the bank that gave them the money. But it's none of my business. The point remains that I discharged my duties as professionally as possible, and as at the time I was disengaging from Diamond Bank, I had a standing ovation. I was sent off the way nobody else had been sent off, and the bank was very, very happy, and I'm sure that you have access to the statement that was made by my then chairman, Igwe. If you do not know, if you do not have it, just Google it. I don't want to waste your time. Google Igwe Nemeka Achebe, the former chairman of Diamond Bank, and what he said about my administration. If I will paraphrase, he said that my 3.5 years sojourn in Diamond Bank was the brightest years of the 24 years history of Diamond Bank. So I think it's a political attack, and I think the government is firing in the very wrong direction, because I don't want to engage him publicly in terms of financial dealings, because I have a fiduciary responsibility. Thank you very much.
Saying that Abia State government is indebted to Diamond Bank. I want to establish that. As at the time we left.
You see, it is also information that I will not go and ask him. Go and ask him if he is indebted. I didn't want to discuss it. But since he had raised it, the next question, and I'm guiding you, go and ask the governor because there's also something called freedom of information bill. You have a right to obtain information. He should publish those he's indebted to and how much is going down. Thank you. Those he's indebted to and how much is going down. Thank you. Yes.
Now, one listening to you, you know that probably you discover that there are a lot of devices that the PD is inventing on daily basis to rig the election. But if all your effort in calling them to order fails, what are you going to do? You still go ahead with the elections?
Well, the good news is that we are in a democracy. And there is a saying in Igbo land, I know all of us are not Igbos, but I'll say it in Igbo. Asuna, when you interpret it, it means that a rat does not eat something that belongs to a man who is awake and waiting for the rat. So we are aware that the PDP is doing everything possible to frustrate people and to rig these elections. It is our responsibility to stop them from rigging. It's our responsibility to call the authority, the INEC, the security agency, to ensure that rigging does not happen. And we cannot be intimidated into abandoning this cause. We cannot, because actually, if you go around that state, you will find that abandoning this cause. We cannot, because actually, if you go around that state, you will find that everybody wants a change, because PDP has failed Abia State. So that change must happen. And that is why we came out, and that is why we are calling the attention of everybody. If some of these, their evil machinations were not uncovered, then it may be easy for them to go out there and rig. But we already have uncovered a lot of them. And we will be relying on you, gentlemen of the press, to also bring it to the public domain so people know what they are planning. By the grace of God, I can convince you that they will not succeed. Is there an owner for this, or should I just throw it away?
I like for reference Nigeria. Why did you choose a woman as your running mate?
Sir?
Why did you choose a woman as your running mate?
Okay, I thought you would have put the question differently by congratulating me for choosing. Or are you a mere chauvinist? All the way from Beijing, we have been campaigning to have women represent my wife, a very wonderful woman, an honest woman, that keeps everything intact the way you leave it intact. Distinguished gentlemen of the press, let me introduce Mrs. Priscilla to you. She is very much Nigerian and an Igbo too. And then I was also lucky to be born by a woman, Mrs. Rose Oti of the Blessed Memory. And today, my wonderful wife has given me 2 women in the making. One of them is studying medicine in the US, doing very well. The other one is in primary school, concluding primary school, and we have a son. I have also been lucky to work with women, and I find that they are very reliable. And I found another reliable woman who is a teacher and a mother, and a grandmother, I believe, a grandmother in the making. So we need to ensure that women are adequately represented. Some of our friends are mouthing women empowerment. They are mouthing it. In action and in deed, they fail. Here, we are not just talking about women empowerment. We are acting it. And this is one of the ways to act it. Women, are you happy?
Yes.
Yes. On that note, Your Excellency.
No, we can take 1 or 2 more. It's 1 more, and it will be from a woman before we.
You know we don't see you every time. And
He doesn't see me every time.
I don't see you every time. When I came to New York, we were returning to Nigeria. So I just
you were looking for me at the wrong place.
with Dr. Fabi and so on and so on. They said,
Okay. No, I'm here. If you come here, I'm not here. Come to my village.
okay.
And not 2 years.
Today now you are Afghan. But Afghan was there and you joined PDP. And then after some time, you left PDP and joined Afghan. So what did you find in Afghan after you joined PDP? What did you find that made you leave? You discovered that it's important because some people are asking about it.
It's a very good question, sir, and I'll answer it. What was it in PDP that made me leave? I'm sure that's another.
Choose the way you want.
As a party, I don't know that there's anything wrong with PDP. But a lot of times you find things wrong with people, not institutions. And unfortunately, it is also people that make up institutions. This same government that you have here today frustrated internal democracy in PDP. On November 1, 2014, there was supposed to be state congresses in PDP. The government refused to allow congresses to go. And they sat down in government house and wrote names of all the three-man delegates. In our place, it is only a tree that you give a warning that you are coming to cut it tomorrow. And when you show up tomorrow, the tree will still be standing there looking at you. So when it was clear that the party was not going to allow free and fair internal primaries, it was time for me to leave and look elsewhere. And I'm sure that if you engage other contestants, other aspirants, if they will be honest with you, a lot of them are not happy about the turnout of the primaries. And I'm sure you pressmen even know better than I do about how these things happen. But again, that is now history, so I don't even want to, just because you asked. Have moved on. So I should be addressing after. I saw there was internal democracy after. Even in the context of the primary elections for me, the candidate that was standing against me had indicated that he was leaving APGA to run under PPA. And he followed it up by doing that. That's the achievement this. But the party insisted that to the extent that he had not submitted his resignation, that they must conduct primaries that will include him. And even though he did not show up, they included him in the primaries. So that is to show you the quality of the individuals in APGA and that are leading APGA. So I believe I've answered the question. The last one from the woman.
My name is Treasure. No problem. My name is Treasure and I work for Channels Television. My question is this. Are you satisfied with the level of PVC distribution in the States?
Good question. I know there are numbers that show that over 80% have been collected. I also know that not too long before then, there were publications that we had not collected up to 50%. So it is doubtful that an incremental number to give us 80% in a few weeks had happened. My impression, and I don't have proof, is that some people may have gone and taken those BPCs, and I have talked about it, and they are holding them. And it is because they are holding BPCs that they are doing everything possible to ensure that card readers are not used. And that is why I call the attention of INEC to ensure that card readers are used. Because if card readers are used, the worst thing that will happen is that people will be disenfranchised. But those PPCs in the hands of people who do not own them will not be useful for them on the election day. So in terms of statistics, if actually 80% of our people had collected their PVCs and is in their hands, that would be very good. But I doubt that the number is that much. I also do know that I encounter a lot of people who say they keep going to the local government and their PVCs are not there, meaning somebody has taken them away. And it is a problem that needs to be solved. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, on this note, I would like to thank you most sincerely for attending and for listening. And I will leave you in the able hands of your colleague Sam Odita to take care of the rest of the proceedings. I do believe that he will be able to give you at least the documented release. The one on INEC, I'm sure you took notes because I didn't document that. And I believe that as time goes on, we will be please do help us to frustrate any attempt to do the wrong thing in Abia State. You are the conscience of the nation. You are the watchdog of the nation. So scream and ensure that the right thing is done. I do not want to do the wrong thing, but I will not allow somebody to do the wrong thing against me. Thank you very much, and God bless you.